scene here. I see a lot of Eskimos milling around. Apparently, we're expecting a visit from the bishop. Flags are up at the hospital. A couple of gray nuns are up there. They're nursing sisters. And it looks like a big celebration. Father Blair is icing the Union Jack on top of the flagpole. And this must be later on, I guess, after the celebration. I see the Peterhead with Brother Bhutan, Father Blair, and an Eskimo. And here, golly, we jumped over Chesterfield Inlet pretty quick. I see the Regina Polaris there in the picture. That's the boat we left Chesterfield on in late August 19, 47. Now here is I believe it's the mission plane. They had a Norseman aircraft. While we were in Chesterfield and the Scopia was lost, that's the big supply ship. And emergency had to fly in supplies. But I see this must be the bishop arrived on the aircraft. This must be back to the celebration of the bishop's arrival. And see the outboard canoe there, outboard motor. And there's the special constable to the RCMP with the hat on. Father Blair there, Eskimo kids, and I guess it's a day of festivities in Chesterfield Inlet by the look of things. We enjoyed the time we spent up there, got to understand and speak some Eskimo, and really made some friends amongst the natives and of course other white people and other white people in the settlement. There's a picture of the hospital there in the background, the flag flying on the mast. There's an old Eskimo there smoking his pipe there, or cigarette. And the Regina Polaris, we're outward bound now to Churchill from Chesterfield Inlet. We left there in late August 1947. We had a very rough trip. In fact, we had a heave-to in the Hudson Bay. It took 54 hours on that trip. This is the tugboat. This is going up the Churchill River almost into the town of Churchill. That's the old Fort Prince of Wales we saw there in the background. As we go up the river there's the grain elevators, and we'll soon be docking there at that wharf, the grain elevators. Some of the priests there, and I see Margie and myself, and Bishop LaCroix, and Father Basin, and Sharon, and Mary, and everybody's making a big fuss over two little girls. Here, Bishop Mark LaCroix, who turned out to be a very good friend of ours during our stay at Chesterfield Inlet. This is Brother Ken and his wife Evelyn, and Margie, and Sharon, and Mary, as we walk along Dorchester Street, or one of the streets there in Montreal. We made a short visit there on our way home to the east, and there we're all walking along there, Evelyn, Ken's wife, myself, and Mary, and Sharon, and Margie. That was in early September. Here we are at Yarmouth. We were moved to Yarmouth after coming back, and this is Margie and the two girls out front there, Mary and Sharon, at our farmhouse there that we rented in Yarmouth. Oh boy, it looks cold down there with all that snow for sure. We stayed in Yarmouth. We weren't there a little less than a year actually. Joni was born while we were in Yarmouth. She was born at the Yarmouth Hospital. Not too happy over that. She's not too happy over that. Yeah, there's Mary too. It's pretty cold out there, I guess, by the looks of things, with the wind and the frost. Mary has nice red cheeks. Somebody's walking in the background according to the shadow. I don't know who that is. Probably Margie, or probably myself, Margie, taking the picture. But anyway, we enjoyed our short stay in Yarmouth. It was quite nice, but we had a rough winter. And the house we had wasn't the best in the world. It was rather drafty and uncomfortable sometimes. There we are again at Yarmouth. We went to the black and white film, and we got a dog while we were there. It was a border collie, called him Laddie. He was quite nervous and high-strung. And anyway, the kids seem to be enjoying him there now. And Oh, he turned out not a bad dog. We had him for a few years, but we didn't really keep him too long as he got distemper, and we had to get rid of him. And then we also got a cat. Margie paid $3 for that cat, I think, as a little kitten. We later on took it to Newfoundland, and it met with an untimely end. Yeah, that's the cat, all right. And oh, here we are with the dog again. And that's the old Nash car I bought, an old second-hand car. Couldn't get a new one, and that was pretty much a wreck. However, it did us for a few months until we finally were able to get a new one. It arrived. We were getting some new cars on the market after the war, and it was very difficult to get one, really. But in any case, we finally got a nice 1948 Plymouth, and we enjoyed it very much for a few years. Yeah, I guess, no, they're running around the yard. This is one of the longest scenes we have, I think, in all our films. This is a shower that the ladies around the area had for Margie before Joni was born. This was a baby shower. They're hard at it. They're playing cards. 45s, I guess. I don't know. I think it was 45s they were playing, and instead of auction 45. But it looks like they're having fun. I don't know who won the prize, but anyway, looks like they're having a pretty good time. I stayed clear. I didn't want to get mixed up with all those women. I don't know. I must hid away somewhere in some other part of the house. However, I must have been around to take the picture. I must have been around to take the picture. Yeah, there's Mary Poole, and oh God, yeah, I forget the names of these people now. This was so long ago. Yeah, I can't, I see Margie there. That's Tim Eden's wife. Tim used to be a radio operator at VAU Yarmouth in those days. There's Mary Poole there facing us. And I've forgotten the name of these other people so long ago. A new wagon for that Christmas, and looks like they're enjoying it. They still have their Eskimo Parkers. I see they're making good use of them. The Eskimos made those, if I remember correctly, while we were in Chesterfield Inlet. There's Father again with the dog. I don't know what he's trying to teach the dog, but anyway, those days apparently I used to smoke a bit. Never did smoke very much. But anyway, my golly, it's quite a hat I got on there, and there's the old car looking pretty good. Some class. Some class in those days. Yeah. Well, now, let me see. We need some new scenes. Margie, the dog died onto the door. The kids are still playing outside in the snow. Now, there's a little Kroll girl from down the road. She was Art Kroll's daughter. Yeah, that's down to their place, right near the radio station, VAU. Apparently we're down there playing one afternoon, and there's Art himself. I don't know whether Art is still living or not. Haven't heard anything for a good many years. I guess they're going to run a race here. Yeah, it's kind of fun, all these films. There's Brian Marr. Now, this used to be a chap that lived next door to me in the hometown of Kansas. This is his little boy. When we were in Yarmouth, this was taken. Brian was living at Yarmouth at the time. There he is, Brian and his son. Brian died some years later. He was Deputy Minister of Fisheries for Nova Scotia, and he died under a heart attack when he was over in Norway, as a matter of fact, on business. So, kids look like they're having a pretty good time there. Little fella throwing a can around, a tin can. Little baby, Joni, shortly after she was born. Well, Margie sure looks good there. And the baby's pretty cute. That's baby Joni, just probably a few weeks old. Yeah, so it's a good record. I wish I had this record of all the children. However, we didn't keep it up. And regret now that we didn't. It would be nice to look at. But anyway, that's a pretty cute picture of Joni when she was just a wee one. Yeah, it's the years go by so quick. This is when we came out of the north. And for her birthday or anniversary, I forget which, I had foxes made over into a jacket, and it turned out very nicely. Turned out very nice indeed. And she enjoyed it. Very nice jacket. Furs were cheap in those days up in the North Country. You could buy a blue fox for about $20, $25. Blue fox fur. And there was Margie and the dog, so there's myself again. Yeah, I look pretty happy there. Oh, I get a kick out of this picture. Our next door neighbor had oxen, as you can see. And he came in one day, and Sharon is quite happy on there with her little doll. He put Sharon up there on the back of the oxen, and Mary up there on the back of the oxen. And Mary in the wagon, she's not happy at all. She's she's quite upset, as a matter of fact. She's quite upset there. She's crying. I like this picture. It's really nice. Yeah, this is a real nice picture. Sharon there's enjoying every minute of it. Didn't seem to be too worried at all. Oh, we must have taken to the Bill Lynch show, I guess. This must have been, I guess, in Dartmouth as well. I forget. It must have been in pardon me, not Dartmouth, but Yarmouth. Yeah, we're still at Yarmouth there, so show must have been there in Yarmouth. Pretty nice summer day. That's a little fellow from next door, two little fellows from next door with their pony. Not a very pretty yard with all the junk around. Yeah, that was a pretty junky place around there. The cat playing with the dog's tail. Yeah. Oh, these pictures go back a long time ago, as you kids, especially Joni, would realize, and Mary and Cher and Cher. Kind of a wild-looking fellow. Yeah. Oh, these pictures go back a long time ago, as you kids, especially Joni, would realize, and Mary and Cher and Sharon. This is before Margie or or the others, that's for sure. Yeah, there was an old barn attached to the house. This was kind of a wild-looking fellow. Yeah, he's kind of a wild-looking fellow. He met an untimely end after we arrived in St. John's, Newfoundland, a number of years later. Mary scratched her hand on the carriage. So anyway, we'll soon be finished this series of films here and go to another series. Oh, here's Marg and the children, and Mrs. Kroll, that's Art's wife. They're picking lupins. This is just going along the lupin trail there, just outside of Yarmouth. So that's the. Get the right adjustments. Oh yes, this is the Magnificent, the Canadian aircraft carrier. Some years ago, the Magnificent in Halifax Harbour. Apparently, these pictures started when we were living in the Halifax Dartmouth area. This is my brother's family. He was living at Eastern Passage at the time. He was in the Air Force down there. And this is my brother Jack, Margie. And this is Jack's wife Irene and one of their babies, and Margie with baby Joni. Yeah, this is, oh, here we are. This is taken at Canso. My sister Pearl's 3 children there, the 2 in the middle and the little fellow on the end. That's Sheila, Rosalie, and I think Michael. And then Mary and Sharon. This is taken just out the end of the lane by the harbor. This picture, I think, was taken somewhere in Truro. My sister Pearl was living there at that time, and we stopped off to visit on the way back to Halifax. This picture was taken in Canso. There's my sister Pearl there in the black dress, and my sister Claire with the bluish coat, and her daughter Norma there with the long braids. There's my dad sitting on the well at home in Canso with all the various little grandchildren around him, Mary and Sharon, and some of Pearl's daughter. There's the car, the 1948 Plymouth that we bought at Yarmouth. White wall tires and all, shining like a Christmas tree there. Oh boy, I was proud of that. This is go swimming. This is our children and Claire's, I guess, and Pearl's. And here we are down Glasgow Head. This is my brother-in-law Warren on the end there, and Claire and the dog, and Margie and the children, and a couple of girls there from around Canso. This must be baby Joni while we were at Canso. Yeah, she's not very old there, but she's pretty bright looking there. She's so cute. There's John Hager. That's my sister Claire's boy. He's controller of the treasury there at Santa Vex University now. And, of course, the dog Laddie. There's Joni again in our crib down at Glasgow Head. A little smile. There's the dog and the cat again. That must be at Harpen Point, I think. I think that must be at Harpen Point. Yeah, oh, the cat is giving them a good wash around the ears. Yeah, this is down in Glasgow Head, just up from my sister Claire's house. This is again at Canso with Bernie, my sister Pearl's husband, and some of their children, my dad, and my mom there, that's standing beside Dad, and my sisters, and oh boy, grandchildren all over the place. Grandchildren all over the place, yeah. Bernie's family, and our family, and Claire's family, and yeah, lots of kids and lots of people. My mom and dad there, Dad with the white shirt, and Mom holding his arm. There they are. The car's backing up the hill. The motor shut off. This is over in, yeah, this is at Magnetic Hill, too. I think this picture was taken among the flowers. That was back in 1948, yeah, back in 1948, or 49. I think it was 48. No, it must be later. I see Joni's walking now. There we are, backing up the hill with the motor shut off. That was a long time ago. Isn't that a beautiful car? Yeah, beautiful car. Here we are down Moore's Mills. We went down there to visit some friend, the McKeegans, Bob and his wife. They were great friends of ours when we were down Low Point. Marie is from Sydney, and Bob is originally from Fredericton. And this is over at Moore's Mills where Bob was working in the blueberry picking business. This looks like when we were returning from the States to Canada. That was during that same trip. This, I think, is at around the customs there in up around St. Stephen. Yeah, United States Customs and Immigration. Here we are, this time walking across the bridge, I guess, from the States to Canada. Yeah, this is all a lot of fun those days. Those little trips and the children, and it was very exciting. This is over at St. John, New Brunswick, visiting some friends there, Charlie and Grace Reed. Charlie was a radio operator with the government for many years. He was on one of the Coast Guard ships. Charlie's dead now for a good many years, but Grace is still living in Moncton here. This is out at Harpen Point, where we were living for a number of years when I was at the monitoring station. And it looks like they're making some hay. We had a beautiful spot out there. And as you can see, some pretty good sights once in a while. Not quite a show there. There's Spracklin. He was my boss there in Harpen Point for a number of years. And a little dog there that one of the boys left behind. This is some flowers they had planted out there. And it's a good old summertime for sure. Yeah, there's a milk truck coming in. This is into Harpen Point. Yeah, Joni, walking amongst the flowers. She must be a couple years old now. Must be about 1950, I would think. That little girl there, I think, is Peggy Bridgers. Peggy Bridgers would be Margie's first cousin. And this looks like one of our visits to Ketch Harbor. Yeah, this looks like on one of our visits to Ketch Harbor. The Bridgers were living out there. And I don't know who all these people are. They're the Bridgers and the O'Haras, I guess. This is in the public gardens at Halifax. A lot of strange people here. There's the parrot. He must have been quite an attraction in those days. And I believe this was a peacock in there behind the enclosure, and the swans and the lake deer. This must have been quite a nice outing, I guess, for us all. Oh, this is when one of our friends, apparently this is after our stay on Sable Island here. This is one of our friends that came ashore with a broken leg from Sable Island. And there's, yeah, we went to meet her at the aircraft. She stayed with us for a while when we're living at Hartland Point. This is looks like a picnic out at Silver Sands. This is outside of Eastern Passage, out on the shore, and a lot of our friends, acquaintances out there, mostly radio people. I see Margie there, and Joni. There's Joni again in the flowers. I don't know where this was exactly, all these roses. Can't seem to recall. Yeah, this is one of the houses at Hartland Point. This is where the Spracklins lived. And the garage, the double garage, and our house was just over here in the foreground. Joni trying out a pail of water. Yeah, she looks like she's enjoying herself. My golly, she's getting to be a big girl. This is another gathering down at Silver Sands, down on the seashore. There's Evelyn Spracklin with the dark dress on. And I don't know who all these children are. Looks like they're having a lot of fun anyway. The water was cold down there, if I remember correctly. Now this is again down back to my home in Canso. They had the swing there by the house doing the Highland playing. She's married, of course, and many years now, and living in the Halifax area. I think about 1949. He loved that dog. He loved him so much. There's Dory. I'm rolling along there. This is Canso Harbor, the church up in the background. That's where I went to church as a kid growing up. And there's Dad's boat. He's taking us for a cruise, I guess, around the harbor. I see his dog is on board, as well as Marg and the children and the girls. Oh boy, it's a beautiful looking day. It's so calm. Probably a Sunday, and there's different people out there. There's over in Grassy Island. That's across the harbor from Halifax. Looks like we're having a great time there digging clams. Dad is doing the shoveling, and I'm doing the picking by the looks of things. This again is down by the old homestead in Canso. There's Warren, my brother-in-law, the big fella, Claire's husband, my sister Claire's husband. Claire's over there to the left. Mother in there, and Margie, and all the kids, a lot of the kids, I should say. And there's Norma, too. That's Claire's oldest daughter, that to the right of her father. And there's the whole group, too. There's Dad, my mother, Dad's brother. This is shortly before we left for Sable Island. This was in the spring of 1951, early spring. There's Father Francis, who later on was transferred to Truro. and served in Toronto for a good many years. In fact, I think he died down there some years ago. And I guess there were some other little girls made the first Holy Communion as well as Sharon. Anyway, she was all excited that day. I remember it quite well. And here comes a couple of the sisters. All the children are gathered around. There's Ruby Walks. They were friends of ours, Ruby and Bill. Bill died a couple of years ago. And there's Evelyn Spracklin and Sprack. He was my boss for a number of years at Heartland Point. Sprack is dead. He died 3 or 4 or 5 years ago. Evelyn, we saw her on her birthday. She's 95, and she's bright as can be and fits a fiddle, living with her son Edward over in Halifax. There's Otis Mosier and his wife and child. This is down at Heartland Point as well, Margie, and oh gosh, I don't know who all those other kids are, the big kids. I don't know, but anyway, here we are off for Sable Island. There's Bob Ferguson, his wife, and a couple of their children. Bob came up to drive us to the marine dock to pick up one of the Coast Guard ships, the Edward Cornwallis, who's taken myself and family to Sable Island, where I'll probably live for a couple of years. They're looking after the radio station. There's Margie, and it looks like, oh gee whiz, that's little Margie. She was born on New Year's Day, 1951. Just a wee baby when we left for Sable Island in April 1951. Here we are in 1951, the year 1951. Train going along there, kicking up lots of smoke. Yeah, there we are, pulling out from the wharf side. There's George's Island there, or McNabb's Island, I'm not sure which. There's the Halifax, the docks as we pass out the harbour. And it'll be another, over 2 years before I'll see it again. This is apparently this was an overnight trip to Sable, and apparently we're anchored there now off of Sable. There's Sable in the background, just a big sand heap, and we'll be going ashore in what they call a surf boat. That's a large, heavy boat towed by a motor boat. And the beach is pretty rough sometimes. There's 3 breakers in there, and if there's any sea at all, they're very hard to get through safely. Oftentimes the boats are swamped and sink and filled full of sand, and they have to put a big line out to the ship and winch them back aboard. It can be very dangerous. So I guess we'll be putting ashore there very shortly. I see we've got a good welcome committee there on the beach. The horses are all lined up, ready to haul the supplies, and a lot of people there. This is sand heap is going to be our home for the next, I think 28 months. 28 months, long time. But looks like this film is finished, so we're going to pause here for a moment. There's the superintendent's house, taken from the top of the lighthouse tower. That's the Quonset hut where the staff people lived. And a lot of empty barrels. Some more Quonset hut. Probably one of those is the radio station. Let me see now which one. Must be... yeah, there's our house over there, the green roof. That's where we lived, and a little shed out back. We had 50 hens, laying hens, when we were out there. And there's also a couple of power plants in that little shed, small power plants for supply of electricity for the dwelling. Yeah, that looks like the... here's these Quonset huts are used for various things. This one is a lot of diesel engines, and the other store. He was one of the famous, well-known old riggers in the Department of Transport. Put up all the masts and the antennas and things like that. Here's Sharon and Linda Solomon, and there's our house there with the children there. See a washout, and looks like everybody's happy. We enjoyed Sable Island. A lot of fun out there. I taught the Mary and Sharon and one of the superintendent's daughters there with a correspondence course in the grade 1 and 2. There's Margie. It's just a little girl there. She was beautiful. There's Joni with one of the hands. Is Joni on horseback. We did quite a bit of riding out there. We had an old horse. We called him Tom. He was rather lazy. We usually took him in the buggy, a little two-wheel buggy, but we used some of the horses out of the stable for horseback riding. They had about 14 horses in the stable. There's Tom and the family on a cruise, on a tour of the island. There's Margie with a couple of cats. I don't know who owned those cats. I think it was down the Met station, which was about a mile further east on the island. There's John Cameron. John died under rather tragic circumstances, had a rather tragic life. John was in charge of the weather observing station down there. That was the house they lived in. And his wife was killed. John's wife was killed in a car accident. There's a seagull. Got him in there. John's got a seagull in there. Yeah. There's Betty, John's wife, standing there with Margie. There's John. That's one of the workmen that was working around there. Oh boy, those seagulls can be vicious. That's East Light. That's a long ways. No, pardon me, that's not East Light. That's the old main station. That was about three-quarters of a mile further west than the beaches. Nice warm water. Lots of seals. Beautiful place for swimming. There's Margie down there with some of the children. Here comes... I see the ship's anchored off there. I guess they must be having lifeboat practice here in this run. This is down at the Met station. Guess must be boat day by the looks of things, when people and supplies are coming ashore. Oh, this was, that looks like the Edward Cornwallis out there. Yes, Orlando. Oh, this is East Light. This is about 20 miles. Lighthouse. That is all automatic today. There's nobody living there. That's the remains of a ship that was wrecked on Sable. This is, I think, down by what they call number 3 station. Some of the wild horses over grazing over there on the sand hills. Here's what happens to the buildings over the years. You had sandstorms out there, and the buildings are buried in some cases. There's the remains of an old wreck, too, just off a number 3 station. Those were the places where they would go in for a cup of tea during their patrols many years ago. There's some of the boys on horseback here. There's another wreck. Just 2 spars. I think that was what they call the Manhasset. You'll see it on the list of wrecks at Sable if you have a map. This is some of the main station boys. There's one of the horses out of the stable. Very fine-looking horse there. I think his name was Beauty, if I remember correctly. He was one of the bigger horses from Sable. Here's the remains of some old building. That's just below our place there, as you see, with the green roof. Just a general picture of the island. We used to get a lot of berries down there, blueberries, strawberries, and all kinds of cranberries. All kinds of cranberries. Must be going to make a garden. Oh, I think this is a visit we had. An American Navy ship came in there, or maybe it was Coast Guard. And some of the officers came ashore. I know they brought ashore about 18 gallons of ice cream. Kids had a real picnic. They came ashore by helicopter off of the ship, and they spent half of the day just cruising around the island. But it was certainly a great event. Nothing much happened out there, in the way of visitors or ice cream, things like that. So this was a great day for the kids in particular, with all that ice cream. There's the American. They carried a Canadian helicopter on board this ship, and that was used for transporting the personnel from ship to shore. And later on, they went, I believe, by the horse team down to East Light, or down in that direction. In any case, here's some of the officers off the ship, and you see everybody's milling around. As I say, it's quite an event. Yeah, it looks like they're going on a on a hayride here, by the looks of things. I don't know how far they went. I guess not too far, because there's one of the men off the ship going on horseback. I guess it was just a little lark for them too. Yeah, there they all go on a cruise. Oh, we enjoyed our days out there. They went by very quickly. We had lots of hobbies of horseback